Welcome to State of the State. I'm Darlene DeRezzo, and I'm in conversation with Karen Dalton, founder of Dare to Dream Ranch. Welcome, Karen.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on tonight.
We are so happy to have you here. We have so much to talk about. Tell me about the ranch. When was it established? It's out in Foster, right?
It is.
And why? Why did you decide to do this?
I am the daughter of a Marine that struggled with anger management issues. I grew up with that at a very young age. I learned what it was like to fly across the room on my back for not feeding my pony on time. And then meeting my ex-husband at 15, I got pregnant right away, and he also had some anger management issues, and that affected my life, and it also affected my children's life. I was working as the executive director for the Rhode Island Academy of Family Physicians, and part-time, and wanted to include healthcare, health coaching into what I do, and helping others overcome their challenges. And I went to school for the Institute of Integrative Nutrition and learned about how other people were doing really impactful things, and I wanted to do that. So I journaled about my journey in life and what I went through and what helped me through working with horses and nature and gardening and healthy lifestyles and exercising and surrounding yourself with positive, like-minded people, and I wanted to break the cycle. So I started Dare to Dream Ranch, and we have been around for 4.5 years now, and it's growing every single year. The need is out there.
Okay, so let's talk about some of the programs that you do.
We do equine therapy.
All right, let's tell the audience what that is. Okay.
Sure. So equine facilitated coaching. So we use horses to help people overcome their challenges. We work on relationship skill building, nonverbal communication, trust, and leadership. So some of the things that I find that our clients are struggling with are the camaraderie, things that they missed when they were in the military. So structure, camaraderie, mission, and purpose. And they come back and maybe they went into the military from what we call ACEs in the medical field, so adverse childhood experiences. So a lot of clients have experienced some form of ACEs and some form of abuse, and they went into the military to get away from that. They didn't have other options. For instance, aging out of DCYF is just one.
Right, so let's pause for a second.
Sure.
So adverse childhood experiences for the audience would be a child whose parents may have divorced, may have an illness, that would be a mental health illness or a medical issue.
Sexual abuse, verbal abuse.
Well, that's on one end, but it could also be, families moving repeatedly, a parent dying. So yes, adverse childhood experiences. Okay, so
correct. Like I've had one client that did have lost both their parents, and they didn't have any other option. Or they didn't think they had any other option other than joining the military. And then they find structure and mission and purpose and camaraderie, people that they feel like have their back. They may have overcome challenges within the military. There are PTSD, there is military sexual trauma, meaning they were raped in the military. Or they just find the camaraderie and people that have their back, and every time they need to ask, what do I do next? They had somebody to ask. Some people say to me, where's my first sergeant? Where's that person I need to ask, what do I do? How do I do this? And then they come back, and maybe they came right out of high school and they never learned how to cook. They never learned how to write a checkbook. They never learned how to write a resume. They never learned how to promote themselves to be successful civilians. So there are a lot of different challenges that our clients have to overcome, and we utilize horses, or I utilize horses as just one modality to be able to help them overcome those challenges.
Okay, so you have the equine therapy.
Yes.
And what else do you offer there?
So we have gardening. So we have organic garden that we actually, the goal is to teach people about sustainable gardening, how they can grow their own produce in their own backyard, which not only helps the individual, but also helps the Rhode Island Department of Environmental Management meet their sustainability goals of growing 80% of the produce locally.
That's great.
By the year 2060. So that's a sustainability initiative. We also, as we have excess produce, deliver it weekly to the homeless clinic at the Providence VA Medical Center to help increase access to healthy, sustainable food within a food desert area. Okay,
so equine therapy, gardening therapy, what else?
We also have woodworking. We have a 22-year Navy chief that woodworking helped him when he got out of the Navy and was going through his own personal challenges, and he wants to help others go through that. So being able to take a raw piece of wood literally off the property, a branch, a tree that maybe he was cut down, and turn it into a pen, a bowl, or some other piece of woodworking, hollowed trees that were diseased and cut down that completely hollowed out, that have been completely refurnished and turned into beautiful mirrors that are selling for hundreds of dollars. People that have started their own businesses, things like that through woodworking.
Okay.
So we have woodworking. We also have fly tying and fly fishing. So we have partnered with local fly tying associations, and my current board president grew up doing outdoor stuff with her father, who was an Army veteran, and that helped her be out in nature and feel better, and so that's something that we also do. So it's twice a year we do fly tying and fly fishing, so it's strictly veterans, so it's that camaraderie. It's they come together, and no matter what branch they're in, they banter with each other and tease each other and have that camaraderie, and they just have a fun day outdoors and maybe learn something new. And sometimes they bring a spouse or a child with them to be able to bring them into that opportunity to feel good and be out in nature.
Okay, so equine therapy, gardening, woodworking, and fishing.
And and fishing. And then fly fishing. And then we partner with other nonprofits as well that take veterans out hunting. Beyond the Battle is another veteran nonprofit that takes veterans bear hunting or pheasant hunting or different types of hunting. And then we have Veteran Angler Charters that takes veterans deep sea fishing. So.
Wow.
How we're different from other equine facilities is most equine facilities are just an equine facility and they're open to every demographic, where we are strictly a military facility that brings in different types of treatments or alternative therapies for just that.
For exclusively veterans.
Exclusively service members, veterans, and their families. It's very important to include the family.
Okay, absolutely. Okay, so describe the facility or compound, if you want to call it, because what you're describing is or was what a mental health hospital was. At one time, people would go and they would have a variety of modalities. It'd be very connected to nature. That would be a significant part of treatment. So describe what the ranch looks like.
For instance, we are.
It sounds idyllic.
We are out in Foster, which is the northwest corner of Rhode Island. So most people say to me, it's very therapeutic just to drive out there. So it's very rural. We live on a dirt road. You turn onto a road. Most people drive past the road several times before they finally make it onto the dirt road because it looks like a driveway. It's just a very narrow dirt road. And it's all woods, so there's very few houses on the road. You come down, we have put American flags down the road as you're coming up to the ranch. We're on 11 acres. But we're surrounded by hundreds of acres of woods. So again, it's very, very rural. It's very energetic and very relaxing. That some of the people have said to me, it's just unbelievable how you just disappear from. You can't hear the traffic. We are half mile into the woods from Route 6, which is a very highly trafficked, highly traveled road from 395 to Providence. And you can barely hear the traffic at all. So you come onto the property and you just hear the birds chirping, and we have horses and we have goats and chickens and the dogs. And
how many horses do you have?
We have 6.
Okay.
So we have 6. We have 2 draft horses, a regular size quarter horse, 2 miniature horses. We have 2 baby Nubian goats. They're very, very tiny. We have 3 Saanen goats, which are very large, about 130 pounds each. And we have chickens, and they're all free range, so they're out roaming around. We have a couple of dogs, golden retriever, lab mix. We turn the front yard into a botanical garden. So we have flowers everywhere. Not anymore. Right. Everything's died out now. But we have a vegetable garden in the backyard, which is very large, and trails throughout the entire property. So it's a very
idyllic, like I said. Okay, so now you're serving veterans and their families, and service members too. Yep. Active military members.
Active military. We have people that are stationed here for a year maybe and going through officer training in Newport, or going through some challenges with transitioning, you know, they move maybe every year or every couple of years
Right.
to a new station, and that can be a lot for the family as well as the service member.
Right. So I suspect that many coming in are struggling with PTSD, depression, anxiety. So how are you getting the referrals, or how are people finding you?
For the most part, I have been at every single pre, post, and mid-deployment yellow ribbon event for the National Guard, Air, and Army since 2015. So that is the most recognition that I get, and being able to be face-to-face with individuals that are being deployed and when they come back.
Okay.
But also through through the Newport Navy Fleet and Family Support Center, their counselors refer people to us. The Family Assistance Center, some through the Vet Center here in Rhode Island. We also work with Massachusetts and Rhode Island, I mean Connecticut. So anybody that's willing to drive to the ranch is open to come.
Okay. Are you getting referrals through, say, Butler Hospital or other mental health treatment programs?
Not to my knowledge. Nobody has come to me. And a lot of peer-to-peer referrals. I went there, so you should try this. Somebody that's a battle buddy that may have been in the military and found solace at the farm, and they refer somebody else that they know is going through a difficult time.
Okay. And how is treatment funded?
Through fundraising. Everything is for free.
Okay.
So I apply for grants, we do events, we have...
So none of this is through insurance? Insurance is not...
Insurance does not pay for anything, no. And if and if you work in healthcare, so if you went through the government, there were a lot of rules and regulations and administrative burdens that come with even applying for a government grant. And I basically do most of it myself. So adding one more thing is pretty difficult to be able to apply for a government style grant without hiring somebody on. So, and we don't have the funding that's coming in to be able to pay for staff. So anything that comes in pays for our facility fees, our animals, our hay. Our hay alone is $850 a month, just in hay for the animals. So, that we're always thinking of different ways and being able to build the facility to be able to be self-supportive.
But I wonder why insurance wouldn't cover treatment.
I'm sure, like anything else, there's not enough scientific evidence-based research to show that this type of work helps. We know it works. People that have gone through it know it works, but to be able to do the research is funding to be able to then get insurance companies to provide it. Now, with that being said, Blue Cross Blue Shield, for instance, has Blue Cross Rhode Island. They have supported us in the past to come out and do a day of corporate volunteering where they have 40 volunteers that come out and help us, clear land and cut down trees and stain the barn and things like that, and then give us a $5,000 grant. So there are different ways that insurance companies might support us. U.S. Family Health just gave us a $1,000 grant for our Battle Buddy retreat to help fund that program. We had a one-day event just last month where we had veterans that have been coming to me and saying, I'd like to do something with peer support. We had some suicides recently within the Rhode Island National Guard and Connecticut National Guard, and people on social media are saying, somebody needs to do something, somebody needs to do something. So I reached out to the veteran community that I know that are or were in leadership roles and said, let's just do something. So we spent a whole day. We did archery, we did yoga, we did mini massages, we did hiking, and we did equine therapy. So just to expose people that might be in need of some assistance.
Yeah.
And we did get a few more clients just from that, and as well as starting up new programs where the person that did our archery is a Vietnam-era veteran, and he is now offering free classes on Monday nights from 4:30 to 8 every Monday night at the Narragansett Bow Hunters Association. So there are programs that we just keep networking and try to offer things that help people to be able to move forward.
Okay. So let's say I show up at the ranch for treatment. All right, what is that going to look like? You know, is it a 45-minute session? I'm on a horse. Like, just tell me what's going to happen if I...
So for the equine therapy, first of all, you fill out a form.
Okay.
Everybody fills out a form because I am applying for grants, and most grant funders want to know what your demographics are that you're working from, age to demographics, you know, income demographics and so forth. But as far as how do I work with you, it's you know, what type of treatments have you tried in the past? What are the things that you're having challenges with, from lack of sleep to relationship issues, so that we have a baseline to where do we start. And then they get to choose which horse that they want to work with. Our work is groundwork. So we work on, again, relationship skill building, nonverbal communication, trust and leadership by doing exercises on the ground with the horse. So a horse is a hypervigilant fight or flight animal. So if you have somebody with PTSD, they can relate to that, right? They're high alert. They're always looking around. So they may come to me with a specific issue that they want to work on. Maybe they got into a divorce, maybe they're going through, got into an issue where they're going through a divorce, or they got in a fight with somebody, or maybe they got arrested for starting a fight, or there are some underlying anger management issues that may have a root cause of ACEs. Or may have, you know, relationship skill building, or, you know, maybe it's something with the military, maybe it's not something with the military, but we do exercises with the horses to help them figure out how they could better change themselves to overcome those issues. But it's more of, I'm holding space and the horse is the tool. The horse is the teacher. Okay. So when they want to move a horse through an obstacle and the horse isn't doing what they want to do, they have to figure out how are they going to change that? How are they changing them? Because there's a misconnect of communication through that. But when they figure it out and that horse is following them around, we work off lead. They're not tethered to the horse. If the horse didn't want to be there, the horse wouldn't be there. So when that horse trusts them, they realize that, you know, they could trust themselves. So there's a lot of, and they're seen as a leader, because that horse isn't going to follow them if they didn't see that person as their herd leader. Yep.
And so how many sessions would I anticipate, or is that kind of up in the air and that's sort of individual?
So time-wise, we start with 60 minutes. If I do not have an immediate client afterwards, I have had clients go as much as 4 hours, depending on how much they needed to work through. You know, if I try to leave it open, you know, so long as, if I have a full day, obviously I have to go, okay, I'm really sorry, but we have to wrap it up. Let's book another session. They can come as long as they want. I have a stroke recovery patient that's been working on motor skills and balance since November, 1st of November. So we're coming up on a year. Anywhere from 3 months to, I want to say a year is usually before they start moving on to something else. They found something else that made them feel, you know, that they could just move on to and find something else that just helped them move forward.
And so how much money did you start with, if you don't mind me asking? Like, I mean...
So it's funny you asked that. I literally looked, I had nothing. I was raising money. I, you know, got my 501c3 and started fundraising, but I, at the time, did not have my own facility. So I borrowed somebody, I found a local farmer that had his own stable, and he let me borrow his school horse, and I would drive to Providence, pick up homeless veterans at the YWCA homeless center, and pick up veterans there and drive them back up to Foster, and they would work with the horses for a couple of hours, and I would do a little scenic tour and give them kind of a, you know, something different to do on a Sunday. And at the time I was working 3 part-time jobs, so Sundays were the only days that I had to do that. And as a single mom, that was, you know, a challenge, but a commitment that I made to do it. And the following year, we got our first horse. We raised enough money to start boarding a horse and using a different facility. And unfortunately, when you're boarding a horse, boarding in barns, not everybody respects your privacy, and that wasn't working out. So we started leasing another piece of property and working on buying that. And we have been on that farm now since April of 2016.
Wow, so you started borrowing someone's horse.
Yes. Yep, somebody else's horse, somebody else's farm, picking up people, driving them back. Yeah, and people would say to me, "You're a single female. you're picking up homeless male clients, and do you feel okay? I'm like, at no time did I ever feel like my safety was an issue, not once.
And did you ride when you were little?
I've had horses since I was 7 years old.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you understand the way of the horse.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, my first pony was a wild pony that we bought out of an auction and had to train it myself, and it was a puppy dog by the time I outgrew it.
Wow, wow.
Yeah, so we do the same thing. Most of my horses have been through their own issues, and I try to partner their issues with the issues that a human may be going through. So if somebody has high anxiety and high PTSD, I may partner them with a horse that has been through a lot of trauma and also has high anxiety and high PTSD and does not trust easily. And together they build a bond where they end up with a great relationship, and that's where you see that success.
So you have a party coming up. The Christmas party, is that open to the public?
It is strictly military.
Okay.
It is for service members and veterans with children. It's completely free. We get donated presents, and we strip our barn, clean it, turn it into Santa's workshop. We have a petting zoo in one stall. We have arts and crafts in 2 other stalls. In another stall, we do engraving of ornaments. We have 2 big event tents. We decorate it for Christmas. We have cookies and snacks and hot chocolate and a Christmas tree, and we have the most amazing Santa. He is a Vietnam era veteran. His name is Santa Bob, also known as Robert Murphy from East Providence. And he's right out of a Hallmark movie. He is absolutely amazing. And he comes and he tells stories and talks to the kids, and we give all the kids their presents, and they have a nice time and play with the animals, and it's just a nice time for the families to come together. And again, it's free, completely free for them to
And you've been doing this party for how many years now?
4 years now.
Wow,
Yeah.
so since inception pretty much, right?
Yes, the first year we moved in there, April of 2016 we moved in there, and December of 2016 was our first one. So yeah, we've had one every year.
Okay. Now, do you have any events open to the public?
Fundraisers.
Okay,
We,
so
fundraisers
tell
we
the
do.
audience about
Yep.
that, because we need the audience,
Yep,
right?
no,
Where am I looking? What camera am I in? Yes, right? We need there
No,
we go.
fundraisers. So June 13th is actually the next big planned fundraiser, and that will be in partnership with Beyond the Battle and Dare to Dream, Veteran Angler Charters and Dare to Dream Ranch. So it's all 3 of us. Okay. It is called the IGY6, which is I Got Your 6. So a lot of veterans have a semicolon, which means pause. So a semicolon in IGY6 means pause, I have your 6. So there are a lot of, we have 22 plus veterans a day that are committing suicide. And our goal is to be able to bring awareness to that, as well as to bring, resources available to help service members, veterans, and their families that are going through this. Because the family is drastically affected when somebody decides to take their own life, because they don't think that they can go on anymore. And the family then has to figure out how to pick the pieces up so they can go on. So our goal is to have over 150 horses to represent how many veterans commit suicide in just 1 week. And it's out of Foster. The Veteran Angler Charters nonprofit is going to take on the barbecue competition. So we have over 20 barbecue competitors that will be bringing their barbecue to you, and people can test their food and see who will have a contest going on with that, and figure out who's the best barbecue, who has the best barbecue. And Beyond the Battle will have their cornhole competition on that same day. And we will start and end at the Foster Fairgrounds in Foster. And they'll ride out 20 miles and come back there, and that's where we'll have the barbecue and the cornhole. But that's our big event. That's our next big fundraiser.
Okay.
And really bringing awareness to, it's not just about us, is that we really need to build a community and need to come together to be able to make things happen.
And so this is open to the public, and they'll be able to find information on that.
Yeah,
on
we're
your
working
website.
on the graphics and everything else. We've just solidified the date and making sure everybody was available and the town's okay with it and everything else. So we're working on the graphics now, so that will be coming out soon, and you'll find that on our websites and our Facebook pages.
And that's daretodream.org.
daretodreamranch.org.
daretodreamranch.org.
Or if you're on Facebook, it's Dare to Dream Ranch.
Okay.
On the Facebook page as well.
Okay. So we've got 5 minutes left.
Okay, that was quick.
Okay, so in 5 minutes, what else do you want to tell our audience about the ranch and about these programs for veterans? Or anything really?
Yeah, I think we really talked about it all, but it's really about if you're feeling challenged and you think that whether it's relationship skill building, whether it's you're not making enough money, and you've never learned how to write a resume and how to turn your military experience into civilian words so that you can get that high-paying job, we have resources for that. If you have trouble with heating assistance, we are huge in networking, and we try to make sure that it's not something that we pay for, but we do have the resources to reach out to other nonprofits that be able to help with heating assistance. Don't wait until you are so far behind that they're shutting everything off, that they foreclose on your home, that they take the car away. There have been people that reached out to us that friends of somebody that's struggling, but it's gone so far that it's hard to get that person back into being a successful civilian when they've let it go so far. Mm-hmm. We've had people that have been injured during their annual training, and they're waiting to be approved. They can't work because they got injured, so they have to be out, and then they're not getting paid by anybody, waiting for the claim to come through. They've had their car repoed, the heat's turned off, the electricity's turned off, they're living off generators, their house is about to be repoed. Don't wait till it's that far. When you're in struggle, reach out, because strength comes in asking for help, not trying to do it all on your own.
Mm-hmm. So that's a good point. Actually, yeah. How many do you have on staff now, Karen?
There is no staff. We are all volunteer, and I pretty much do it mostly myself.
Okay, so all of this networking, so you have all of your volunteers sort of lined up. Someone comes to you with their needs and goals, and then you are contacting your various volunteers. Wow.
Yeah. I reach out to other nonprofits or other resources.
Okay.
I wake up usually between around 6 o'clock in the morning, and I immediately start with responding to Facebook messages and emails, and then go off and turn the horses out and clean stalls and see clients and go to the next networking event or the next how do I promote my events, and deal with the admin stuff that behind the scenes. And we have people that need food, and they're moving into a first apartment, and all they have is a bed. There's no table, there's no chairs, there's no food, and somebody will contact me, and it's random things that just contact me. Hey, I've got this person, how can you help? And I reach out, and literally within 24 to 48 hours, we can house an apartment, we can get food for an apartment. And people are calling me now going, okay, I'm a contractor, I'm refurnishing this apartment, I've got extra furniture, you have anybody? I'll reach out to different organizations or different individuals, and we find homes for furniture that somebody thought that they couldn't afford or had to live without. And maybe it's a little outdated, but it's something better than nothing.
For sure.
So whatever, we always want to know somebody has your six. And people say to me, where's my first sergeant, so I can ask, how do I do this? That's what we want to be.
Yeah, so tell me about some of the change that you've seen in people. Like, what's sort of that first aha moment? That maybe for you, the aha moment where, we're down to a minute.
We can continue on for an hour.
We can keep going in the after show. Well, I just wanted to ask about your experience, but we can do that, and we can put that up on Instagram. Yeah. So we'll continue a little bit on Instagram. Thanks for watching. This is Darlene DeRezzo. You're watching State of the State. Remember that we have a new Instagram account. It is State of the State RI. Thanks. Have a great night.